Yeah, unfortunately, I can't fix that bad video files audio. I can just remake the video. Won't take long. About how to make a tube to drive in. Basically, just add a mesh. Let me turn this on first. These shortcut keys, so you can see what, well, some of what I press anyway. It doesn't show you everything. Yeah, right there at the bottom. Kind of helps you kind of see what I'm doing. Basically, just add a mesh. This isn't like 3D Studio, or I haven't got any extra geometry that makes a tube, but you can make a cylinder. I mean, you can probably make a tube, but uh, I'm basically just going to scale this thing up. Pick it, hit S, and then Z to scale it up and down. Then I'll hit R, Control. See, it doesn't show you that I hit Control key. That's why I don't really like this damn program. This little add-on that shows you what I'm pressing, it doesn't show you everything. So R, Y, Control, and then it makes it easy to lock it at 5-degree increments. Make a duplicate. I hit Escape on the keyboard so the duplicate stays where the other one is. Scale it slightly smaller, and then scale it along the axis that, well, if you're going along the red line there, that'd be the X. If you were scaling it the other way, that'd be the Y. If it was along the green. But I'm going to scale it like this, so this is what we got, one object and another object. Then I'll pick the first object. I'll go to add a modifier, boolean, and then I'll pick the middle object. I'll apply it, then I'll delete the middle object, and we got a tube. Now if you want the tube to have a smooth edge, I wouldn't say smooth the sides because that makes it look funny. So I'd say hit tab, go to edit mode, pick faces here, turn on x-ray so it selects the front and the back, then just select those faces, which are just these, not the edge, just the ones in the middle, and say face shade smooth. Then you can go back to object mode and you can turn x-ray off and see it smoothed it, but it left the side flat. If you don't do it like that, it makes it look funny. Like, you see what I mean? You don't want it to look like that. Well, maybe you do, but that's just how to do it that way. Move it up, and then do like I do, import in something that can give you a sense of scale from the game, like this is another, like a DAE of this car, for example, for scale. Alright, so you see that's the hopper, so okay, well, I need the tube to be like that large, or maybe I want it like that. And I can get rid of the car now, I don't need it. Now I do need to make a texture for it. Now, not actually applying a texture map to it, but unless you want it to be red and say no material, you need to give it a new texture. Call it, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it glass tube 20. Because I probably already got a glass tube. I don't know, may already have that texture. Glass tube 20. I'm going to get rid of this light and this camera. And the preferred method for me to make the collision mesh is just to make a duplicate of the object and call it COLMESH-1. Now, if you want to go another few steps and make it optimized so that it is better performing, which I wouldn't think you would need to optimize something like this, but hey, maybe you want to. Hide the collision mesh and then pick your cylinder and duplicate it again. Hide the original, and that way you can only see the duplicate that you just made. You go to modifier properties and add a decimate. It's 68 polygons. So as you reduce this ratio, it'll reduce the polygon count. So you reduce it down to, I don't know, 35 polygons. I mean, this really matters when you got high polygon stuff. This stuff does help, but not for something that's only 60-something polys. But still, this is how you would do it. All right, you named the first one that you hid. You can unhide everything now. You double click, call this one, put underscore A 300. The lower polygon version, name it cylinder underscore A 150. Now, anything that you use to optimize, you're going to always put an underscore, lowercase a, and then a number. The number represents how many pixels large the item is before it transitions into the lower polygon version. So when it's only 150 pixels big on the screen, it uses the 150 version. When it's 300 pixels large, it uses the 300 version. Next, you have to add 2 empty plain axes. These are basically like folders. Think of them as a folder on a desktop. You're going to need 2 of them. You're going to name one base 00, and you're going to name the other one start 01. You'll hold shift, left click and drag and drop start 01 into base 00. And then everything else, you'll move that into start 01. You can select all the stuff and hold shift and move it in there, or you can do them one at a time. It's up to you, but that is the final result how you would want it. Now, if you want this item to also turn into a 2-dimensional billboard when you're really far away, then you have to add another empty plane axis. And this one, you name BB underscore auto billboard 25. Now this one, unlike the others, goes into base 00. So you'll hold shift, left click, drag, and drop it into base 00. And that's all you got to do if you want to have optimized DAE files. Now select everything. Well, just these 3 meshes. Object, set origin to 3D cursor, and apply all transforms. That way the game knows where your object is supposed to be in relation to where 000 is, where green, red, and blue come together to make the location 000. Alright, and if you look at a side view, you'll see like basically it should be sitting on the ground when it spawns in. Alright. Now, not to be confused with creating a texture name. Anytime you duplicate an object, it's going to use the texture from the object that you duplicated it from. So you don't have to make a texture for the collision mesh, the low poly, high poly model version. It's going to use the same texture for all of them. That's why I said make the texture first. You ain't got to worry about all that after the fact. Now the next thing is just exporting this. And it's my way I prefer to do it. export the thing onto the desktop in its own folder. I'll just call the folder glass tube 20. And I'll tell it, that's all, this is the default export anyway, to copy textures. But since we didn't actually give it an actual texture map, we just gave it a texture name, then it's going to be white when it spawns in the game. So what I like to do, I take a main.materials.json file, which is basically like a blank version of a texture file. I'll put that inside this, I gotta find the damn folder now, glass tube 20. I'll copy one and drop it into there like this. So we got our DAE, which I didn't actually name the DAE anything, but untitled, but that's fine. Now here, inside of this file, I'll close these others so there's no confusion. This made a texture called old. Well, it's going to now be glass tube 20. And that gets copied and pasted in two places, where the name is and where map to is, since I'm mapping to that texture. There's no color map or detail map or any of these other maps, so this DDS file from this old texture, I'm just deleting it so that there's nothing in these brackets. I mean, these quotations, I mean. It'll be double-sided, but that don't worry about all this other stuff. Just save it. Now what this will do is when you take this folder and you drop this folder into your level's art folder. Say we'll go into levels here. I have a level called PBR. I know it's a crazy name, but in the art folder, I'm going to paste that folder. Well, damn it, I must have not copied the thing. Where'd it go? Damn, I'm blind, I don't see it. Did I not just have that folder in my hand? I guess I didn't. Copy. Alright, see. Where is it? See, it's got its own folder. Now, it's got to have its own folder because it's got its own main.materials file. And it also makes it a hell of a lot easier to just move that item out of that level and put it into another level's art folder. You don't have to change anything, just move the folder. So we'll load that level, and that item will be in the asset browser. Damn it, that's the wrong level. Where is it? PBR. PBR was a small island. I just converted it to make my own level. So we'll go to the asset browser, hit F11, and window asset browser, and once it loads the assets, glass tube. There's our white tube. Just not glass yet, but now to drive in it, once you set it where you want it, let's go up to Edit, Rebuild Collisions, or you can hit Control F7. It's up to you. Or if you reload the level, it'll rebuild them automatically. As you can see, you can now drive in it. And that's the way I know to make a tube. The easiest way to make one. I would think eventually when they get this game closer to release, they'll have more things in the level editor that's like template stuff that you can just drag and drop many different things. But until then, this is how we have to do it. If you want to make this thing like glass, you can turn on alpha blend mode, say like lerp alpha, for example. Probably not make it double-sided. Nope, I'm hitting the wrong thing. Wait a minute. Alpha. Maybe change it. That is a terrible glass. It doesn't even look like glass. Well, I mean, it kind of does, but not really. Glass is not too easy to make look right. There's different types of alpha transparencies. I usually use lerp alpha. I thought it was called lens alpha, but after one of the updates that changed to lerp. There's also in PBR 1.5, if you use that, there's another one called pre-mool alpha, which is another one entirely. But the way PBR 1.5 does alpha is a little different. And this is where I'm a little rusty on. I haven't messed with this program in a while. But that was how you would increase the alpha of the opacity for if you're using 1.5. Now, if you actually want to